start off by, although Ant-Man early on looked like, okay, he shot one from half court, and you basically said, oh, God, okay, here we go.
One of them
It's
nights.
getting ready to be those nights.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, things simmered down. But in the end, they didn't play as well as Dallas on the road. Dallas came in on the road in the fourth quarter. Luka took over. Kyrie took over the first half and said, okay, I'm a instill my will right now on the Minnesota Timberwolves, and let's see if they can handle it, and I'll hand it to my partner in crime in the fourth quarter and allow him to do his work. And he did, and that's exactly what happened along the way. Ant-Man didn't do well. Conley didn't necessarily do well in terms of, and only shot the ball 16 times, Skip. Okay, he wasn't very aggressive at all. Inside the paint, what did he put up 3 shots inside the paint? He just wasn't aggressive for whatever reason. And I don't know if it was because he was trying to, for the most part, preserve some of that energy toward Kyrie when he was a primary defender on Kyrie. Although when he was a primary defender on Kyrie, Kyrie only scored about 8 points on him, but you could pass that off
4 out of 5
any way you want to,
in the
right?
first half.
Yeah, you can pass that off any way you want to and say, well, he was a primary, he wasn't the primary. But I just look at it as a whole to say, okay, Dallas knew what they were going into. Minnesota didn't. Minnesota didn't seize the moment and opportunity when they had it. They let them hang around too long, and then eventually Dallas put it away with Luka. Now, that's the sort of thing when you talk about Luka to me, Skip, and you say, oh, he's good, he's great. That's all I want to see. Show me that in the fourth quarter. In these now you're in the Western Conference Final. And then the next round will be the championship. And if you can take over in the fourth quarter and do that, now you have arrived. That's all I've been saying the whole time.
Would you say he was impressive in the fourth quarter last night?
Oh, my God, yes.
Oh, my God, yes.
He went step back, step back, step back. It was, and all of a sudden, he erased a deficit, and they was in front, and I think he scored 7 on those 3 shots.
In a row.
In a row. That was like...
He did.
That was like real big boy stuff.
Big boy stuff in a big boy moment on a big stage.
Yeah, but for me, it happened on the other end, too. Because he got a steal.
He did.
Then he deflected another pass, which was 2 huge possessions for the Minnesota Timberwolves. But like Skips likes to say, they ran into 2 nuclear weapons in Luka Dončić and Kyrie Irving. And I said this before the series. I like Dallas in 6 for the simple fact the championship DNA is pretty much oozing all over their locker room when you talk about Kyrie, Jason Kidd. And let's not forget the championship moments that Luka had in Europe, playing in hostile environments. People, don't know about that, or that goes underestimated.
No, I laugh because those are big hostile.
Those are hostile.
They're smoking cigarettes and everything else.
Smoking cigarettes, cigars, and chanting different. People don't know about those European crowds. So Luka coming into these type of environments doesn't bother him at all. I'm a little concerned about Minnesota. Ant-Man didn't play well. Let that be Jason Tatum goes 19 and 10. We'll be all over him the next day.
Well, Paul, Jason Tatum done been in
Well, we're talking about
Jason Tatum done been in the finals 7 times.
I love Ant-Man, but look at what we've done. We've face of some have already given face to the league. Some say when they get to the finals or win the championship, he's the face of Jordan. So if you're getting all these comparisons, you got to show up. Now, I understand that you haven't been in this moment, but Luka and Kyrie have. And when I hear things like, you're tired, that struck me right there, Skip. That struck me. Because now everybody's tired at this point. And for the very first time, Skip, I see a chink in his armor. Because I didn't see this before. When they went down 3-2, what'd he do? Oh, we be back in 7. We be back in 7. He throughout the playoffs, he's constantly giving his teammates confidence when they're down and out or when they're up. I never saw him say anything like this. I'm tired. So for the first time, I'm like, uh-oh. That's not what I want to hear from a young guy. So he poked the bear. We saw what Kyrie came out, set the tone. And to me, that's the formula. That's going to be the formula if Dallas is going to win this series. Kyrie, we're going to get you going early because previous series, 6 points, we got to get you going early. and I'll close the door on him, Luka said. So I think it's trouble for Minnesota. And like I said before, Minnesota in 6. And they don't get this next win, it could be over earlier than that.
You Dallas in 6.
Yeah, Dallas in 6. Sorry.
Okay, Mr. Johnson. When I made my prediction, I told you 2 things were about to happen. I told you that the Mavericks would have the 2 best players on the floor. And you went back to the Denver series and you said, yeah, I kept hearing about Jamal and Joker and Jamal. But I said the 2 best players. So last night, Luka and Kyrie, game 1 at Minnesota, scored a combined 63, and Ant-Man and Cat scored a combined 35. So 2 versus 2, it was 63 or 35. That is the recipe for home disaster. That's not going to work. You're going to lose that game.
100%.
Then I told you that Dallas's front line is being underrated and underestimated because they're physical. And that kid, Derek Lively, the second, is lively, man, because he comes off the bench at 7 feet 1 inches tall and plays with much more force than young Chet Holmgren can play with for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
1,
He's playing with force.
1,000%.
No, it's
he is making things happen. Bodies are flying when he hits the middle of the paint because he's knocking people out of the way. Daniel Gafford is a man inside. P.J. Washington is a man. They take nothing off nobody, and they're hard to uproot in the paint. Yeah. They hold their ground.
Yes, they do.
They stand you off. That they're impressive to the point that I look at the numbers. Points in the paint were 62 to 38 in favor of the visiting team. And we're talking about the 3-headed monster in Minnesota. And it is a 3-headed monster. Yeah. But last night, the monster did not roar. And then last night, Dallas won the backboards 48 to 40. I'm pretty surprised by that, 48 to 40. And Dallas won the blocks, 8 blocks to 5 blocks. And I'm sure Rudy changed 3 or 4 other shots. I give you that. But those numbers stack up to Dallas actually won the battle of the paint. And Dallas gave an account of itself, set a tone, sent a message that we are a very physical front line and we can play with you guys in ways that Joker, it was like Joker was 1-on-3. And finally, Joker in Game 7 got bullied at home by the 3-headed monster. And then Luka. And again, I've had my moments going back 3-4 years ago when I wasn't the biggest fan of Luka. But the one thing he does have in common with Michael Jordan, I'm going to go past Larry Bird to Michael Jordan, is what you just brought up. Luka has a history of big fourth quarters in playoff games on the road. He loves it. He lives for it. He lights up for it. He did it to Oklahoma City at Oklahoma City. He did it to the Clippers out here in L.A. in the first round. He enjoys this. He lives for it. He needs to hear the boos. He needs to hear the crap that gets yelled at him. And he responded last night by just flat out taking over the fourth quarter because Minnesota made its run. They had a 13-1 run early in the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden, let there be Luka. Yeah. And if we can quickly see the 5 shots he made, and the first 3 came on 3 straight possessions and got them back in the game because they were teetering on extinction here. There's the first fall away. Right, okay, and that was a little lucky, but it went in.
Go to the step back.
Yeah. And that cut it to 3, and then, okay, we cut it to 1, and then
shoot this in your face.
That put them up 2 with 9:08 left.
This is the shot right here for me, though.
Woo,
I thought he could have shot the first shot, but he was like, oh, Ant-Man's closing out.
Yeah, and then that was right in, wasn't that Jaden McDaniels' face?
Yeah, a lot of these was Jaden McDaniels.
Okay.
He just controlled the game.
Just controlled the game. Okay, so Jaden McDaniels made second-team All-NBA defense. That's pretty great. And last night, Luka just sort of had his way. I mean, he just showed you. It took him a little while to sort of figure him out, but he moves at that herky-jerky pace. And Jaden McDaniels at 6'9", 2 inches taller than Luka, could not keep him out of the lane. Have you seen anything quite like the way he forces things into the lane and makes shots?
No, not at all. But he was prepared for this type of defense. You got to understand, I don't know Luke Dort, to me, is the best perimeter defender, but you can make an argument for Jay McDaniels.
You can.
Like, what Luka has seen defensively, and for him to continue to come in here and carve up these individuals because his IQ is so high off the charts. He can shoot the mid-range. He can shoot the three. And when he gets into the paint, he's so dangerous because you don't know if he's going to go all the way, throw the lob, the bounce pass to the big man. I mean, his overall offensive game is just so hard to guard. And he stands at like, what, 6'7", 6'8"?
Yeah.
And he just takes his time. You can't rattle him.
No.
You can't get in his head. It's just like, man, this road and this path he's on right now just screams that Luka, he's going to be in the finals. And I just don't see an answer for this because if your leader is out here talking about he's tired, he has to guard Kyrie, you don't really want to put him on Luka. I don't know where Minnesota goes from here. You know, they obviously, Ant-Man has to play better.
Well, not just Ant-Man. Karl Anthony Towns has to play better.
He does.
Has to play better.
Yeah.
For the most part, McDaniels, except the fourth quarter, is a wash for Luka. That's basically a wash. He basically washed each other off because Luka got hot in the fourth quarter. Total numbers, Jaden McDaniels scored 24 points. Luka scored the 33.
It was a stunner,
but
man.
it was the fourth quarter that Luka just, he just did what he do.
That's
when you a star player like that.
Yep.
But along the way, if Cat is hitting his shots, because Cat was 6 of 20 from the field. Come on, you can't at least go 50%? Give me close to 50%.
I agree.
And then if Ant-Man does what he's supposed to do, he didn't shoot it all that much. He had 16 opportunities and he hit 6 of them.
Yeah.
But if he gets me closer to 50%, that's a different game right there.
Yeah.
And you can't allow Luka, especially Luka. Okay? If you want to blitz him, blitz him. If you want to double him, double him. But then you got to pay attention to what Kyrie might do. If you can somehow negate those two in these times in the fourth quarter and make those other 3 beat you, then you deserve to win the game.
Okay. But 2 nuclear weapons.
They got 2 of them.
So Ant-Man, not that he called out Kyrie, but he said right after Game 7, I got Kyrie.
Yeah.
And Kyrie was on TNT post-game last night saying, but Kyrie wasn't angry about it. No. He said it was a sign of respect,
Yeah,
to a degree.
But he said it motivated me, and did it ever, because he came out and Kyrie is amazing how he can say, okay, watch this. I'll do it right now. I'm going to do it right now. He scores 24 in the first half.
Right.
Would you believe that little known fact, Kyrie Irving in the second half last night went 1 for 9, 0 for 2 from 3, scored 6 points. He did make the clinching 2 free throws. Give him high marks for that.
I knew he was a 90%
He is. He's just going to make them.
He's just
going to make them. But 1 for 9 in the second half. So 2 things happened. If Kyrie doesn't score 24 in the first half, we're having a different conversation because they're going to get blown out. Because he kept them barely afloat, right?
Yep.
And if Luka doesn't just flat out take over the fourth quarter, you're going to win. You're just going to, because they played well enough in the fourth quarter to win. They did a lot of good things. And the best thing they did all night that shocked me was they made 18 threes.
Yeah.
They won the 3-point shooting contest 18-6. So that's plus 12. That's plus 36 points from 3. Would you believe that's the second biggest advantage in a home playoff loss ever to, do you remember this game, Keyshawn? It was Game 1 last year of Lakers at Golden State. Game 1 at Golden State. That was even worse than this because the Lakers shot 6 of 25 from 3, and Golden State made 21 of 53, and the Lakers still won the game at Golden State.
That almost doesn't happen.
6. Okay, so that's 15 times 3, so that's a plus 45. The home team was a plus 45, but the visitor won the game.
Yeah.
So this is the second worst instance of this, where at Minnesota last night, Minnesota's not a great three-point shooting team, and you can argue they settled and took too many, but they did make 18 of them.
50 of them.
Yeah, they took 50, but they made, but you still shot.
It seems like that's too much, right, Paul?
Yeah,
it's not who they are.
That's not who they are.
It's why you got crushed on points.
But I think a lot of that
paint.
too, though. What did that man? What was his? Because he didn't.
He was 5 of 12.
So
not
he
bad.
shot 12 though.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And he just didn't. He settled. I don't know why he was settling for threes. I guess maybe he was preserving some of the energy. Didn't want to drive. Didn't want to.
You got to give credit to the Dallas defense. They corralled them a lot. You know, where there was always a second defender had an eye on them. You know, because you don't want to give Ant-Man straight line drives because that's where he can punish you. What's disturbing to me is that the Timberwolves are not taking advantage of Karl Anthony's town's size advantage. You know, I think he drifts on the perimeter too much, and that's why they're getting crushed with points in the paint, because you have a guy, Anthony Towns, who can destroy you in the paint. He's one of the best post-up players. If you get him the ball on the block, he can get you a bucket. And they haven't taken advantage of that all playoffs.
Okay, but what does he refer to himself as? The greatest shooting big man. Okay? And is he trying to live up to that? To a fault?
9 threes.
Yeah, happy shots for 3. I mean, that's not going to get it done. If they keep selling for threes, this series is going to be over shorter than they really expected. So I expect them to make the adjustment, but I think the adjustment is going to come on the defensive end for them. They're going to have to they're going to have to get the ball out of Luka's hands. Period.
In the fourth quarter.
Just get the ball out of his hands.
They had him under control the entire game until the fourth quarter.
It's going to be similar to what
he did.
You know what's the funny part of all of this? That OKC, they decided to say, we're going to take Kyrie out. You know, Kyrie is the key to this team, and they trapped him every time he caught the ball. And that seemed like that was kind of like a little recipe for success against Dallas. You know, that series could have went either way. You know, every game was close. So it'd be interesting to see how they change their defensive philosophy on Kyrie coming in the game, too, because if there's no adjustment made, like we said, 18 threes made, you got crushed on the boards, crushed in the paint. What adjustments do you make? Because if you lose game 2 at home, I'm not sure you can go in Dallas and do the same things you did in Denver.
And Rudy Gobert has to do it better. Rudy Gobert has to do a better job on whoever, if it's Lively or whoever it is, he's got to do a better job. Because if I'm the defensive player of the year, I'm a $50 million guy, and I got a rookie with 11 boards and I only got 7, I take issue with that. If that's my teammate, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, man. You got to keep this dude off the glass, whether it's the defense or the offensive end. That's why we paying you the bucks.
Agreed.
That's why you the lone guy, the giant on the team.
Yeah.
But when you got a puppy with 11 boards and you got 7, that tells me something.
What did the puppy have in plus minus? Not that I'm the hugest plus minus fan, but he had the best on the floor last night. He was a plus 19 while he was playing, because every time he stepped on the floor, something good seemed to happen. He was a catalyst for a lot of good things.
And he's learned how to shoot his free throws.
He has.
Over the last several games.
Yeah, because for a while they were going hack-a-lively, and then Oklahoma City said, no, we can't do that anymore.
He's been hitting them, too.
And by the way, speaking of Oklahoma City, Keyshawn, this is the one area you should fear the most. So the Mavericks shot 6 of 25 from 3 and won the game.
That's what I'm saying. Against
Oklahoma City. This is tearing my guts out last night watching this. Against Oklahoma City over 6 games, Dallas shot 40% from 3. Yeah. 40%?
Yes.
And last night you shoot 24% on the road at Minneapolis in game 1? Are you kidding?
Yeah.
And you stole the game anyway? And remember, P.J. Washington against the Thunder, every time the ball touched his hands from 3, it just went in. He shot 47%. Last night, he was 2 for 8. He did make a couple late ones, as he's wont to do. But Luka shot 39% from 3 against Oklahoma City in 6 games. Last night, he was 3 of 10. Well, you better be careful, because the recent history is going to tell you that in game 2, they're going to make more threes, because they're pretty good from 3.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think Dallas played well at all.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's weird. The way they won, when you win the stats, I mean, they didn't play well, but the little things, like you said, the rebound. But listen, I think the adjustment for the Minnesota Timberwolves, you got to play Naz Reid more than Gobert. For one, I think it spreads the court for Ant-Man.
He feels more active.
Yeah, he is active.
He makes stuff happen.
He can defend.
Hands.
But the thing is, he spreads the court open now. So that's the adjustment. And I said that was the adjustment the last game because now you got 5 3-pointer shooters on the court at all times.
Yeah.
So now you can't crowd Ant-Man, and it allows him to make straight line drives and get to the basket. And if he doesn't have a dunk or layup, he can find a guy for an open shot.
Yeah.
And I just think, sometimes Minnesota's stubborn because of what they've done all year long with Rudy Gobert. And coaches get stuck in their ways.
Okay, so you would play Nas over Rudy?
I would start Nas over Rudy for the game.
Oh, okay.
And that would be my finishing lineup because it spreads the court, Skip.
Yep.
And Nas is a versatile defender to where you don't have to play back on the pick and roll. That was their problem. When Luka came off the pick and roll, what did Rudy go to the rear do? He backed up. So now Luka got there, got to the free throw line. And then when Gobert stepped up, he threw the lob. It's just you're giving Luka too much.
I agree.
So now if you put Nas Reed in this situation, just switch. Make Luka finish over the top. And I think that's a better strategy for them moving forward.
Okay, so just for the record, Rudy played, let's call it 38 minutes last night and gave you 7 rebounds. That's not enough.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just not enough.
Okay, so Nas played 24 minutes, and he did make 3 of 6 threes. And that's the funkiest three-point. I know Halliburton's is funky, but it just barely touches his hand. It's just like a little, like he just does that. Yeah, he does. It's just weird. I know. It is. But it goes. And he was the 6th man of the year for a reason.
I mean, he gives you production. He gives you 5 rebounds in 10 less minutes.
All right, Keyshawn, I got to get you on record. We're going to go deeper in this in just a few minutes. But
what do you need from me?
How disappointed were you in Ant-Man for going, I was exhausted after the game?
Oh, man.
Could I avoid this question? Next question, sir?
Yeah. Okay, that's a good answer. That's all I need to hear.
That's all I need.
Yeah, I extremely get next question, sir.
Okay, we'll dive deeper in just a few minutes. Okay, up next, I'm fascinated by this to hear what these guys have to say. LeBron compared the criticism Bronny is getting to the criticism Caitlin Clark is getting. Okay, we'll discuss next. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.